Sir. Thank you for the increment, sir.
What now, Abhishek?
Thank you, sir. Increment.
What's the problem? Walk me to my room.
Sir, now I can make 1 crore.
How do you make 1 crore?
10 years.
You won't make 1 crore?
No, I'll tell you. Philosophy is simple. So I'll invest the increment wala percentage.
Okay.
Full.
Okay.
In SIPs.
And you'll make 1 crore?
In 10 years.
Abhishek, come here.
How was, sir?
Idhar aao, come here.
1 crore.
Kahan se every week, how do you come up with a 1 crore plan now?
Because I'm smart.
What's the plan?
See, I'll tell you. I'll invest my increment in mutual funds.
The 10% goes into mutual funds?
Yes.
And then?
It will make me 1 crore in 10 years or so, my Excel sheet says. But
hold on. You selected mutual funds and it's going to make you 1 crore. How did you select the mutual funds?
I know. Just look at this. You see this list? You see these top 3 funds. The first one.
What do you mean top? Return funds.
Correct, returns.
Genius.
Look at this. No, what's this number?
Got it, 36%.
36% CAGR.
And you projected this into the future.
10 years.
And that's how you make the money. Miss. Not cool. Tell me one thing. When you select a stock, what do you look at to select a stock? Sometimes you buy stocks also, right? What do you look at?
You have only taught me. Yeah. I look at the fundamentals.
Got it.
Sales, revenue, profits. I look for the sectors, IT sector, banking. Just in case if IT sector goes down, banking saves my portfolio.
Nice. Sounds complicated. How many metrics is this?
10, 15-ish. I don't know.
Okay. And how many metrics did you look for mutual funds? Returns. And the reason is that mutual funds are managed by experts. And all you have to do is select a fund. वो तो सब अपने आप हो जाएगा. Correct? Actually, no. There is a way to actually analyze mutual funds as well. So instead of looking at 15, 20 metrics like you do, why don't I tell you some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 metrics that we look at, and based on that, you can select a mutual fund.
You don't want to see me make 1 crore now?
I don't know about that, but I don't want to see you die because your expectations are too high. Let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do is look at something called rolling returns. What you are looking at is CAGR, wo wala roll nahi. This is a different kind of roll. Give me the poker chips. Okay, so what a mutual fund manager is essentially doing.
That's money.
Yeah, and he is. Thank you. Ye juice तुम्हारा है. I'll ask you questions, and if you make the wrong answer, नहीं. अगर तुम गलत जवाब दोगे, you'll have to drink the करेले का juice. Cool? Okay, cool. So, a mutual fund manager is basically investing in different companies and diversifying your risk, let's say within equities. Now, sometimes, out of pure luck, which is completely fine, one of the stock does extremely well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, इस साल का return is massively better than last year's because this one stock or
sector
or a group of stocks did extremely well and it skews the average. And because of that, the portfolio looks really nice in terms of returns. So, how do we know that the manager has luck or skill on his side? Okay? So, we look at something called rolling returns. So, now think about cricket. In cricket, if you have a batsman, then he's scoring 40, 40, 40, 50, 50, 50. That means there is some consistency.
You see a pattern.
But what if someone scores, example they know, 200 somewhere in one game and the next few games is 40, 40, 40, but his average is also 50. Who is actually better?
The one which is who's
consistent.
going through a consistent average.
Exactly same thing in mutual fund. So basically we need consistency when we're selecting a fund, and that's important.
Ari sir, I already know this.
Okay, then can I get a laptop? So what a rolling return does is, basically you try to capture multiple returns at the same time. So let's say we have 6 years to look at.
Okay.
We look at year 1 to year 4. Iska returns are?
20%.
Now let's start from year
2.
So 2 to year
5.
So 2 to 5 returns are 16%.
16.5.
Now let's go to year
3.
3 to year
6.
Is 8.7%.
Okay.
So if you have to go forward, you'll say year 4 to year 7, and so on and so forth. So you won't see the average of the last 7 years. You will dissect it a little bit and see हर 3 साल 4 साल के period में कितना return आया. It's a rolling return. Makes sense? Now this is fund A.
Okay.
Now the same thing we'll do on fund B. which is
30% for first, then 20%, then 17%.
Almost 18%.
18%.
So on one hand, we have 20%, 16%, 8%. On the other hand, we have 30%, 20%, and almost 18%, which is more consistent.
Fund B.
Clearly, right? And both can actually have a similar CAGR, similar return, but you want to go with the one that's more consistent. All you have to do is Google the fund name, click on rolling returns on whatever website you go to, and just compare whether the numbers are almost the same.
Sir, this is easy. So basically, I'll just compare two funds and it's done, right?
Oh, wait. So when you look at a fund, you have to compare it to the benchmark.
Which is?
For every fund, the benchmark is different. Another thing you can also do is compare this with the category average as well to see how other funds are performing.
What is category average?
So category is basically you might invest in a certain mutual fund category, like a hybrid fund or a large cap equity fund, etc. or an ELSS fund. You just compare sare funds in that category. Where does your fund stand? It's a comparison with the category average. This can also be found online. Not an issue.
This is easy.
It's easy. So you compare with the benchmark, you compare with the category average, rolling returns, and you're good. The next performance metric is the Sharpe ratio.
What ratio?
Sharpe ratio.
Sharpe ratio.
Sharpe with the E. Before explaining what Sharpe ratio is, we should actually explain what standard deviation is. Hello.
Yes.
Let's imagine there are two aircrafts of two different brands flying from Mumbai to Delhi. The flight, let's say, is 2 hours long.
Okay.
Now, one flight operator is usually late. So on one day, it's 35 minutes late. On another day, it is 40 minutes late. On one day, it is 10 minutes late. But if you look at it, mostly it's about 25 minutes late.
That's an average.
It's 25 minutes away from the mean, the expected, the 2 hours. So standard deviation is 25 minutes.
Okay.
The second flight is late only about 10 minutes most of the time. So its standard deviation is 10 minutes.
Like 10, 8, 10-ish.
So now that you know, ek ka standard deviation of time is 25 minutes, the other is 10 minutes. Which will, yes.
Obviously.
Of course. This is what standard deviation is. How far away do you deviate from the mean? Now to explain Sharpe ratio, first let me ask you a question. Okay, galat question mein. Let's suppose you have an investment option that I'm giving you and I'm saying there is a possibility of making 100% return on this.
I'll take it.
And there is a second option jahan pe you will make only 10% as a possibility. Which one would you pick? Okay. Now what if I told you the risk in this is 100% wale mein, if it doesn't work out, I will get your house. And in this one, jahan pe you're making 10%, if this doesn't work out, max you lose is 1%. Which one would you pick now? But 10% is much lesser than 100%.
I love
Which
my
one would you
house.
pick?
I love my house.
So what you just did was you didn't look at just returns, you looked at risk. If the risk is too much and this is stupid risk, you just won't take the risk, right?
Correct. Hide the...
This is what the Sharpe ratio does. It compares your returns to the risk that you're taking, because when we look at a fund, we say 30% returns, ye to bahut acha hai, but how much risk are you actually taking? We want to know. It's calculating basically your returns divided by the standard deviation of that fund. Now, the interesting thing is, jo numerator hai na, it's actually coming from the difference between your fund and the risk-free interest rate. You know why risk-free?
Risk-free. FD?
Kya?
Fixed deposit.
Please go.
Sir, risk-free.
Please go. FD is not risk-free. Your risk-free number actually comes from government securities. Maja aaya? Actually, I'll show you one example. This fund that I've opened over here, its Sharpe ratio is 1.43.
So this is
good, decent. I would compare this fund to all other funds in the same category. And see what their Sharpe ratio, returns, etc. are.
So if I'm looking for ELSS fund, I'll look for Sharpe ratio comparing, I'll get the best sort of fund.
And remember, you can't optimize for just one metric. You have to have a balance of everything. So now let's see a risk metric. What do all mutual fund ads say?
Mutual fund sahi hai.
Nahi, please go. Please go.
Sahi nahi hai.
Mutual funds are subject to market risk. Beta, let's talk about beta. So basically, beta measures the fund's volatility against the benchmark. It could be Nifty, could be Nifty 100 TRI, could be whatever. but that's what beta measures. So, you will tell me the answer now. Okay, I'll give you a clue. You also guess. So, a beta of 1 means your fund volatility and the benchmark volatility is the same. It's 1. Now, let's say your fund is 1.2.
More volatile.
By how much?
0.2%.
Yeah, 20%. And let's say the beta is 0.8. It is 20% less volatile than the benchmark. That's it. Now, the question is, which one will you choose? Higher than 1, lower than 1?
Just select the one which is equal to the benchmark, no?
I think it's a very subjective ratio, but there is another ratio which actually answers this question to a number. And it's called the capture ratio.
Which will have another ratio.
There's an upside capture ratio and there's a downside capture ratio. So let's say Nifty moves up 5%.
Okay.
And let's say your fund moved up only 1%.
It's a very bad fund.
It's very bad. But what if your fund also moved up 5%?
So it's a good fund, na?
Its upside capture ratio is 1. So let's say Nifty moved up 10% and your upside capture ratio is 2. That means your fund moved up
20%.
Which means you want an upside capture ratio greater than 1. Now, what do you think will be the answer for the downside capture ratio?
I will not look at it, no?
No. You want to make sure that your downside capture ratio is less than 1. So if Nifty falls 5%, you want the fund to fall?
Oh, not 5%.
Less than 5%.
Less than 5%, of course.
Last two metrics, we will go to AUM.
Assets under management.
Which is the total amount the fund has in its corpus that it's investing. Usually what happens is people go to a category and they click AUM and they see the largest fund and they think that's a good fund because everyone's bought it. I'm not saying don't buy the highest AUM fund or buy the smallest fund. Not saying that. So what I would say is remove AUM from your metrics when you're looking at a fund. The last one is the total expense ratio. You know what this is, right? What is it? TER or total expense ratio is the fee that the mutual fund company charges you to handle your money.
I knew this.
तो फिर करेले का जूस क्यों पी है? Self-confidence is the key. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're investing in a fund jiska TER is acceptable. Again, don't go just for the lowest TER because
what's the acceptable TER?
I don't know. You'll have to look at all the funds in your category and see what the range is because the TER changes and I can't give you a range for it. So now you have 6 metrics, all of them on your screen and I hope all of them in your head. When you look for a mutual fund, it will take less than 5 minutes for you to go through all of these 5 or 6 metrics. But once you do, you'll be a little more confident. No one can pick the best mutual fund, a stock to give you the best returns. Nobody. All of these things are done so you can sleep well at night knowing you did everything you could in your capacity and iske baad jo hoga bhai mere haath mein to nahi hai. And that's the true key to happiness also, for appraisals also, and for returns expectation also. Keep them low. Hope for the best.
Appraisal expectation should be high.
No, it should be low. So then if you
give us high.
If it's decent, then you're happy.
Thank you, sir, for the appraisal.
No, there's no appraisal. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, give a like, say something in the comments, and see you in the next episode.
And I'll get bonus, like and subscribe,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
अरे intro appraisal तो मिला है ना? Sales के साथ क्या आता है?
So imagine these are. तुम लोग हंसे क्यों यार?